Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Let's get started. I'm going to read something from the, what book is it? Hi, God, One More Thing. I'm loving this. I'm almost finished with it. But this one is called Going Under. It says, Hi, God. I'm surprised you didn't hear the sound of me gurgling when I said that. I've been trying to keep my head above water, and I'm not sure that I can. I've been treading water for as long as I can, and it seems like the water is getting higher and higher. I can imagine what Peter felt like when he was starting to sink. I'm still breathing, which means I'm not under yet. I feel like I'm in the same place Peter was. But even though Peter stopped having faith for a moment, you didn't let him sink. Your mercy and compassion overflowed when Peter cried, Lord, save me. If it worked for him, it will work for me. I cry out to you right now, Lord, save me. When Peter yelled those words, Jesus, you didn't hesitate. You came immediately. As I cry out these words, I know that you're with me, stretching out your hand to lift me up. You won't let me fall. I know I need you. I know you are filled with mercy. I know that you died so I could live. The Bible tells me that you love me first, even when I fail you and when I fail myself. My failure doesn't separate us. It gives me an opportunity to lean into your forgiveness and compassion. Your love for me is so much deeper than the troubles that surround me. Jesus, you came to seek and save people just like me. I need you to save me. You are faithful, faithful beyond measure. You don't even know how to break your word. Your word came to save me from situations like this. Your life had a purpose to save, and you created my life to have purpose as well. My arms are open, my faith is renewed, and I'm reaching up to you. Thank you, God, for saving me. I love this so much because it doesn't matter really what you're going through. If you're experiencing loss, if you're experiencing sadness, if you're experiencing pain, if you're experiencing, just feeling like you got disconnected a little bit with God, this prayer really helps to bring it back. And it's so normal. That is what I love about this book. If you guys haven't read it, I highly encourage you to go get it. If you're somebody that maybe feels like you're bad at prayer, because that's me. Did you get some dip? Oh, you got a vitamin. Awesome. Okay. It's called Hi God, One More Thing. And it's by, I can't see who it's by actually.
Mommy.
Book details.
Mommy.
Yeah, honey, go get daddy, please. Nicole Crank. Oh, they're for me.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetheart. Sorry. Sorry, they're bringing me my prenatals, and I thought she was telling me they were her vitamins, but she was like, Mommy, these are for you. Okay. Anyways, Nicole Crank is who it's by. What I love is that it doesn't matter if you've never prayed in your life. She puts it into these, that she's just talking to him. She's just talking to God, telling him how she's feeling. And then at the end of each prayer, which I didn't read, it gives scripture she calls it God's word. And she gives numerous scriptures of why what she just prayed about is going to happen for her, if that makes any sense. So I love it. No matter what you're going through, he's right there. He's listening, and he will not let you just sit there and drown. No matter what you're going through. So give it up to him today. I was talking with one of my girls yesterday. She's having a hard time with somebody in her friend group. She's in a different company, and she's in my company, and then her really good friend is in a different company, and they're battling right now with ethics, basically, just like the other one is taking her girls and not realizing that it's affecting her friend, if that makes any sense. And so I think that a lot of times in this, what is the word? She's having trouble with it because it's her friend, and she's having trouble with understanding how to address the situation because they're good friends, and she doesn't want to spoil that friendship. But at the same time, in this situation, the reason why I'm saying this is because I told her last night, I said, I think when you don't know what to do in these situations and when you're having like struggles and anxiety because of this, the only thing that you can do is give it up to God. Just if you don't want to have a conversation with her, if you don't want to like, take action or do anything to stop this right now because you don't know what the right thing is to do. And you guys can relate that to anything in your life. It might not be somebody in a different company. It could be you and your mom are having difficulties understanding the same things, or you and your spouse are having problems together and you don't know what to do or how to handle it. One of the things that I think we all could learn, especially me, is not speaking until we've prayed about it. Okay. Not speaking until we've actually asked God, like, what do I do here? What do I do here? And maybe even taking a couple days on it, taking a couple days to just kind of sit on that. See if it's really bothering you. See if it's really going to hurt you in 5 years. One thing I heard Ed Milet say the other day, he said, if it's not going to bother you in 5 years, or if it's not going to matter in your business or your home life or as a parent or whatever, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, do not waste your breath on it right now. Like, we've heard that so many times, right? People have said that all the time, but it's like, it just sat with me so much because being pregnant, things bother me, right? Like on the daily, probably on the minute, right? As the clock ticks, things just bother me, right? But seriously, it's like, is this going to matter? Is this going to matter later on? Why is this triggering me? Why is this upsetting me? Give it up to God and watch him do the work for you. Watch him do the things that you don't need to do, and just let him take it, because that's really, what he's there for. And that's what he wants us to do. Okay. I'm going to read the Self-Reliant Entrepreneur. May 18th. Mind the end. Nothing is more clear than that every plot worth the name must be elaborated to its, oh my gosh, you guys, denouement before anything be attempted with the pen. It is only with the denouement, I might be saying this wrong, constantly in view, that we can give a plot its indispensable air of consequence and causation. By making the incidents, and especially the tone at all points, tend to the development of the intention. Edgar Allan Poe, 1846. We can sum up Poe's reading today with this wise nugget. Begin with the end in mind. Okay, that was a lot easier to read and understand. Begin with the end in mind. I like that a lot better. But imagine if Poe was charged with writing a book that never ended, or at least was intended to run for a good 20 or 30 years. How tidy would you guys, I'm so bad at reading, I feel like. How tidy would his denouement, his final scene, be? I need to look up what that word means. There's no doubting the wisdom of this mind the end advice. But entrepreneurs must remain both equally focused on the destination and detached from the details, allowing for sweeping changes in the achievement. Imagine the challenge for Poe's editors in that scenario. Let's call this required skill detached focus. You set your objective, and then you go and get to work on what needs to be done today. In other words, you don't lose focus. You simply focus on the right things right now. If you set a goal of 1 million in revenue, you don't spend all day looking at your bank balance. You go about tilling the soil, planting the seeds, and building the irrigation canals, because a good gardening metaphor is always useful. Focus on performing today's most pressing need. The challenge question is, what's the most important thing you can accomplish today? Ugh. Okay. You guys, real talk. Yesterday we went over to Cammie's for dinner. And I knew that Cammie would give it to me straight on how I've been feeling and what I've been dealing with as far as promotions and what we should be pushing for and where we should be going. And Brian is really understanding and like mainly just like whatever's best for me right now, right? Like, I don't want you exerting yourself too much, like you're carrying a baby, like you need to chill, but also like, can you do it? You know what I mean? Like he gives me like facts on things, and what I really needed to hear, and I didn't even know I needed to hear it. Okay. But again, this has been my pattern for like a couple months. This has been a pattern that God is trying to show me. In this book this morning, he just showed me once again another sign. But what Cami said was, she said, I think for the first time ever, I've never really heard you be in like a funk like this. She said, I've never heard that you've struggled with negative thoughts. I've never heard that you've struggled with excuses. And she wasn't saying that I had excuses. She was saying that because I was asking her, I'm like, are these excuses? Like, I need help. Like, am I making excuses? I need somebody to sit there and say, yes, you are. You need to do better, or you need to do more, or I needed somebody to really give me that. And she was like, I don't think that you're making excuses by any means, but I think that you're well aware that you're in some sort of a funk. And the fact that you're coming to me and you're giving me these details so that I can help you walk you through it means that you don't want to stay in this funk, and that you want to, my enrollments aren't necessarily being affected. My work ethic isn't really being affected. It's up here. It's the constant battle of like needing to grow, but also needing to work, needing to grow, needing to work, like having this constant battle of like, if I focus my attention over here on just growing, will I lose what I have built over here? Okay. It's this constant battle with me. And the whole reason for me bringing this up to her was exactly, it was like God was telling me exactly what I needed to hear. And she was saying, you have not tested this. You have not tested this. You're going back and forth. You're going back and forth. You're going to like work, and then you're going to be like, no, I need to grow. And then you're going to like, but I can't stop working. No, I need to grow. And she's like, you're not fully jumping in to truly testing the fact that if you dive into growth, that the work will come without me having to do it, if that makes any sense. And it's not like I don't have to work, you guys, because just like this thing said, you have that goal in sight, and then you don't just keep refreshing your e-suite like it's going to show ambassador this month, right? It's just going to show ambassador, right? Like you have to work in the day, like in the day to day, to make that goal happen, whatever your goal may be. But what I loved about what Cami was telling me is that, one, I need to give myself grace. I need to give myself grace, and then I need to stop going back and forth. I need to pick. I need to fully dive in, believe that I can do it, know that I can do it, and 100% lean on God to get me there. And stop worrying. It's not that you're stopping doing the work. It's that you're stopping worrying about getting the work done. Does this even make sense? It's the, well, I can't listen to that book because I've got to reach out to my customers. It's that tango that you're doing that is like, absolutely not. I will find a way to listen to my book right now. Then I will find a way to reach out to my customers. Okay. It's not an either or. And I think that is where I keep going wrong, is I keep thinking to myself, well, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm reading books, I'm doing all of these things, but I can't let go of the work ethic. And I don't even think I'm explaining this correctly. Can you guys give me some love if I am? And this is getting through to you, because for me, it's not about not working. Okay. That's the main thing that I need you to understand. It's not about, I'm not saying just go read some books and don't ever pick up your phone and work again. That is very important that you guys understand this. But what it is to stop the back and forth of, it's more important for me to do the work than it is to grow. That's what you need to take away from this, is the growth is actually 10 times more important. The work with the growth will produce 10 times more. That's what I'm trying to say. It's going to produce 10 times more when the growth is before. And so once again, I've just battled with like, okay, you're telling me that all I need to do is go all in and just believe. And why have I doubted that? Why have I doubted that? God showed up for me when we went triple and prez. God showed up for me last month when we got back to triple and prez. You know what I'm saying? Like, he shows up every single time I ask him to show up. You guys, my goal was to get back to presidential last month. That was my goal. The month before, I think we ended at like 83,000. Okay. So we needed, in order to get back to pres, you need over 100,000 in volume. Okay. So 83,000. So we needed like a little less than 20, right, to get back there. That hurt a little bit. That was like, holy crap, we could have done that, right? We could have done that. We could have worked harder. We could have done that. And then the next month, I actually did less. Like, truthfully, I grew more, did less. And on the 25th of the month, we were over 100,000 in volume and we promoted, or we got back to presidential. Okay. That hasn't happened in the history of ever. Even when I promoted to presidential, I wasn't getting back to presidential the next month until like a couple days before the end of the month. Does that make sense? Like it was never right on the 25th as everything ran that I got back to presidential. So God showed up. My faith was stronger than my work ethic last month, and he showed up, and that happened. Okay. So it's not that I haven't tested it in the past. It's that I have a problem somehow continuing to test it. I have a problem continuing to, it's almost like your consistency in your work and your posts and like your daily 6 list you need to be just as consistent with like talking to God and praying to God and doing the things that you need to do. Like, but that's the first thing to go for me. It's not that I don't believe in him. Right? It's just the first thing to go. And yet he's sitting there yearning for more time with us. He's sitting there saying, Rochelle, if you just sat with me, if you just talked to me, there's so many more blessings for you. There's so many more things I want to show you, but you're trying to do it all on your own. Drop a 1 if you feel this. You're trying to do it all on your own. And I'm sitting right here. And that presidential thing that happened on the 25th, that could happen on the 15th. Why aren't you letting me help you? That's what he's saying to you. So anyways, I just had to share that because I'm just, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. That's another thing that I want y'all to realize too. You've been hearing me struggle with this for quite some time. Okay. So the reason why I bring my struggles is because I know that everybody else might be struggling with it, right? It's not easy for me to talk about my struggles. It's not easy for me to come to you and be like, hey guys, I'm still struggling with this. Like, haven't mastered it yet. Like it's continuing to happen. Right. But I think that that's transparent. That's how it is. And that's how the real world works, is that we have to go through those things. And sometimes we just have to talk it out as we're going through it. And that's what she made me feel so good yesterday, because I'm like, I'm not complaining. I'm not trying to, make excuses by any means. I'm just looking for some guidance here because I've never experienced this. When you come into territory that you've never experienced before, there's a couple things that you can do. You can either run the other way and hide under the covers, or you can be like, okay, I'm going to dive into this, but this is very uncomfortable and very it's not normal from what I'm used to. When you've never experienced something, it's really hard to keep going through the motions, and it's really hard to test it. It's really hard to step out in faith and test those things. And it's all fear. It's all fear, you guys. It's 100% fear. Like my thing is what I was telling her yesterday was, okay, so I can get there. Like I 100% know that I can get to where I need in my goal, but I am so fearful that I will get there and have it completely fall apart because it was just my own bulldozing work efforts. Does that make sense? Like I can go there, I can do it. I'm going to run myself into the ground and I'm going to bulldoze a lot of people and I'm going to say, we're doing this come hell or high water and we're going to get there. Or I can do it the way that I know, the way that I feel is better, and make sure that I am loving on these leaders, make sure that I am showing them how to chart, make sure that I am walking them through how to do this on their own, make sure that they know that they're worthy, pour into them, love on them, and they will eventually rise to the top, right? They will eventually do this on their own. And that's the whole point of this business, is us helping others learn how to do things on their own, not bulldozing them and knocking them down to get what you want, right? But what I love that Cami said that really stuck with me was that, Rochelle, that's the difference between a leader and a bulldozer, and you're a leader right now because you're sitting here struggling with the fact that you could get more, but you're not because you don't want to run over your team. So the fact that you're coming to me, this is what she said, the fact that you're coming to me and telling me all of this means that you want that. You can have it, you can attain it, but you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it the wrong way because you're so worried about that. Instead, we need to be speaking life over those leaders. We need to be not saying they're not ready, right? And it's not that I'm saying to her, because I didn't actually say this, it's not that I'm thinking that nobody's ready on my team, you guys. It's just that in the past, I've always been the one that just takes the reins and just goes for it, and I don't care who's ready, right? That's what I'm trying to avoid. I want to make sure that they're ready. I want to make sure that they want this. I want to make sure that they feel that I am with them, not running them over. You know what I mean? I want them in the car next to me, racing the same line. I don't want to like bump them into the ditch. You know what I mean? And so, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. I love it. I love that. I've heard that before, and that was such a great reminder. So anyways, I don't want to like beat this into the ground, but it's just, I'm feeling really great today. I'm feeling really good about just like what I need to do. And the fact that she was like, wait, you can have it all. Like you can do all of this and you can still promote, like you can still do this. You just need to start to speak life over your team. You need to start journaling who you need to promote, who you know deserves to promote, who you want to do this. You need to start speaking life over those people, that they are self-sufficient, that they can do this on their own, that they don't need you to get to your promotion because they can do it all on their own. And when I heard that, I was like, maybe I'm subconsciously thinking, because I'm so afraid to bulldoze them, that I'm like, oh, I'll just wait until they're ready. Okay, but saying that I'll just wait until they're ready implies that they're not ready. And that's not true. These girls are hungry. These girls are ready. They want this more than anything. So who am I to sit here and subconsciously think that I just don't want to hurt them? And what I'm doing subconsciously is hurting them, right? Because I'm not speaking that life. I'm not 100% all in faithful. I'm not being faithful. I'm not understanding that God can do all of this without me leading. He can do all of it without me even showing up, really. You know, obviously I'm going to show up for my business, but I'm just saying he could do it, right? I have to know that. I have to believe that. Let me read the devotional. I got $20 on it's going to speak directly into what we're talking about. Anybody else? I'm just kidding. Okay, don't listen to the rooster. Do not let me be disgraced, or let my enemies rejoice in my defeat. No one who trusts in you will ever be disgraced. Psalm 25. Right before Jesus was arrested and crucified, the disciples met for the Last Supper. Peter adored his rabbi and friend. Can you imagine Peter's dismay when Jesus looked him in the eye and point blank told him that he would soon betray him? Not once, but 3 times. Before the rooster crowed, Peter was indignant. But of course, that's what happened. As soon as Jesus was arrested and push came to shove, Peter denied knowing his best friend to save his own skin. Once, twice, 3 times. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Can you imagine the abject shame that splintered Peter's soul once he realized what he had done? Shame often sits embedded like a splinter in our souls because we humans tend to love reliving past mistakes. It seems crazy, but we replay foolish decisions and ways we've hurt others, even when we are Christ followers who believe in forgiveness and grace. I just said I got $20. It's gonna be exactly what we were talking about, right? Let me read this last sentence again. It seems crazy, but we replay foolish decisions and ways we've hurt others. Okay, for me, that's when I've promoted in the past and bulldozed over people. Okay, ways that I have hurt people, ways that I have not given them the guidance that they needed because I was in a hurry to get where I was going, right? Even when we are Christ followers who believe in forgiveness and grace. It doesn't have to be that way. Peter wept bitterly. But when Jesus was resurrected and met with his disciples, part of his time was spent reconciling with Peter. He offered Peter the opportunity to re-engage and reconnect with him, essentially a chance to change the end of the story. Isn't it just like Jesus to take our deepest regrets and wipe them clean? But that wasn't really the end of the story, was it? After all, every single morning for the rest of his life, Peter probably woke up to the sound of a rooster's crow. It could have been a daily reminder of his deepest shame. Peter likely had to choose to accept God's grace and forgiveness and let regret be wiped away rather than replaying his failure and letting it fester. We have to do the same thing. That friend we hurt so badly, whom we see at church every week, the mistake that got us fired, and the bank balance that condemns us every time we pay monthly bills. God knows all of it, and he wants us to accept his forgiveness for all of it. And that means living in forgiveness, not replaying regret. The truth is, the rooster will crow. It's just a matter of what we choose to hear. God desires for it not to be a reminder of our shame, but to be the sweet, sweet sound of his amazing grace. The reflection is there a past regret or mistake that you replay that sits like a splinter in your soul? What is your rooster that reminds you of it? And how can you reframe it so it reminds you daily of God's grace and forgiveness? I love this. I love this so much. I feel like not even mistakes or regrets that you have sometimes are what like triggers us, and we have like I've talked about triggers before in the past. Like something will trigger something from my past, and I'll have like a bad day, right? Like I'll have a day where I just poor me, blah blah blah, like whatever. Or maybe like because for me, when I answer this question, there's not necessarily like a mistake or a regret that I have that I would go back and do differently, mainly because I do have grace and forgiveness. Like I know that the things that I have done in the past, or something that maybe, wasn't the greatest thing, I'm not still holding on to that. And even when I'm reminded of that, I know that I was forgiven for that and that you can't live in the past. One thing that we were watching yesterday on Ed Milet's show or podcast or whatever it was, he was talking about how you need to surround yourself with the right people. And that if you're around somebody and they always talk about the past, okay, this used to be me 100%. If you're around somebody and all they do is talk about the past, you need to find more friends that talk about the future, talk about where they're going. Don't talk about the past of where they've been. And that can mean maybe they had like really good things happen in their past. And so maybe they just really like to reminisce about how they used to have all of these things go right for them and now they don't. Maybe that's why they like talking about the past. For me, I had a lot of hurt in the past, so I couldn't let it go because I always felt like I had to explain to people where I had come from so that they would understand the damaged version of me now, right? Does anybody feel that way? Like, have you ever gone through things in your life where you're like, oh, I've got to tell them about like everything I've been through, because like a simple trigger like this, oh, well, I just called my mom. I called my mom and she like told me all these things that I could like do to like make this better. And I'm sitting over there in the corner with my chest beating or my heart beating out of my chest because I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a mom. So like, does that mean I'm never going to move on from this situation that we were just talking about? Like, she doesn't know that about me. Like, how do I even talk about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so silly, but this was me in the past. Almost like, okay, well, like I feel like any friend that I have needs to know what I went through so that if I like bark at them or if I like have a bad day or if I have something wrong, they at least know where I came from, right? Maybe then they'll better understand me. You guys, your past does not define who you are, okay? Just so you know. In fact, your past doesn't even, it's not even that it doesn't define who you are. It actually made you who you are for a reason. Okay, God doesn't have you go through things in life because he's just like, oh yeah, that girl Rochelle, let's just put her through a ringer. Let's just like watch and see what happens, okay? No, I firmly believe that he did that for, number one, it all came full circle when I had Huntley. Okay. Everything came full circle, and I understood why I went through everything that I went through with my mother when I had my baby girl, because I got a second chance. I got a chance to do everything the opposite way of what I was raised on. I got a chance to fix the cycle. You guys, one little thing about my family is that every single woman in my family, in my mother's family, is straight up either a drug addict, an alcoholic, a somebody who's been in and out of jail their whole entire life. Like literally, the cycle was never broken until me. Okay. That is why I went through the things that I went through, so that this cycle could be broken and that Huntley could have the best life ever. I don't even think I've ever said this out loud, but it truly has, like, it has given me a different perspective on why I had to go through the things that I went through. And I don't know what that is for you. Maybe you're like Brian and you truly had an incredible upbringing, and not a lot of trauma, not a lot of, sorry, shelves, not a lot of, things that went wrong. That's shelves. Can you say hi, give her a kiss? Oh, your baby.
Cold.
It's cold. Baby's cold.
A baby.
Okay. So,
Oh, yeah, baby.
okay, honey, give mommy just 1 second. I'm almost done. But I firmly believe, and Brian has said this before too, that, honey, yes, there's a baby. That maybe I was in Brian's life because, go get daddy, please. Go get daddy. Hey, go on, go. Go get daddy. Take your baby. Sorry, guys. I promise I'm almost done. Brian, can you come get her? He has said before, like, maybe I was put in his life to show him things that could have happened. It's mine, honey. Go get daddy, please. I'm almost done. Come on. Okay. Give me a second here. Get my thoughts back. Yes, Blanca, your daughter's pick. She's like, baby, I see baby. Okay, so anyways, he has said, like, I firmly believe that we were placed in each other's lives, like, together, so that he could understand that the world isn't like this bliss, perfect thing, and that people who have gone through things like that can be together and can, like, he's my person, you guys. I've told you this before, but, like, he is so my person. Like, I don't know that I could have been with somebody who had been through traumatic things, because then we would always, like, feed off of traumatic things. Does that even make sense? Like, maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we would both rise out of that. And I feel like you can, your person is your person. It doesn't matter what they've been through. But my point of this is, for Brian and I specifically, I truly feel like God placed him in my life for that reason alone, is that, you know what? He is here because God knew that we meshed well together, and that he is somebody that I would have never gone for, which I love even more. He was actually placed here by Jesus himself, is like, this is the guy. And a lot of you don't know this story, but, and someday I'll tell you it, but, like, our dog, I literally gave my dog Chief to him without knowing him. Brian was dating somebody else, literally without knowing him. Okay. Brian had my dog Chief for 3 years, and then we ended up dating and ended up getting back together, and we still have our dog. He's 7 now. Okay. Like, it's the craziest thing. Like, Jesus literally was like, girl, you don't know this guy. You don't know him, but you're going to give your dog to him because you have a little bit of a mess to clean up over here for the next 3 years. And as soon as you get your act together, I got this guy over here. He's holding on to your dog for you. Like, literally, I feel like that is what God was telling me. Like, whenever you're ready, I've got the perfect person over here for you. And since then, I've became the woman who I am. And I don't even think that that's all personal development. I think that that's a lot of Brian. I think that that's who he placed me with, is the person that I want to become, is the person that I want to be like. He pushes me to be a better person. And so anyways, I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but that the devotional just reminded me, like, as things trigger you, just remember that you deserve grace and you deserve forgiveness. And that's what God is just yearning for you to do. He's just yearning for you to look at him and just say, Lord, I'm having so much trouble today. I'm having so much trouble with this trigger. I'm having so much anxiety with this. Can you just take it off my heart? Lift it up. use your hands, lift up what is hurting you off of your shoulders and ask him to take it, and he will take it. And he will do whatever he knows is best for you so that you can continue to just live your life without that. Sorry, I'm just reading the chats. Okay, sorry I made you guys cry. I love you guys. I kept you like 5 minutes later too. So let's hop off, but I will see you tomorrow morning. I love you guys so much. We'll talk soon. Bye.